Hello, and this is a broadcast about my project called The Scales of the World. This project is a big collaborative project that has been progressing over the past 2, possibly 3 years, and it follows on from Ecdysis, which is a project looking specifically at reptile species found in the British Isles, including various reptiles that have been brought here or arrived here, and various reptiles which are on the point of leaving if we don't look after them. And so the Scales of the World grew from that with the help of specifically Breezy Lee, with whom I collaborated on the music, and she, together with Richard Luke, made a very beautiful score for this show, which was then literally scored for strings and percussion and pipes and whistles by Greg Lawson, and played by a quartet led by Greg and Fiona Stephen. Importantly, I think the costume has been a prime element within this. So initial conversations around the costume coming through the Ecdysis project and our experiences showing the Ecdysis project in Britain, but also very specifically in New York, thanks to the kind of connections and motivation of Philip Alexander MacDonald, meeting with various friends and contacts of his, and just points of inspiration, specifically Joey Arias, thank you Joey, and very importantly Mr. Pearl. Mr. Pearl is a very interesting figure in costume, the world of costume and couture and alternative thinking. Pearl is based between various places, hails from Edinburgh at times, and agreed to come and collaborate with me to create a look for this show. And his influence has been pretty big within the overall feel of the costuming for this project. His work is quite amazing. If you should just look it up, I won't attempt in any way to describe him, except to say that he's not celebrated as much as he should be. And then also within the costume collaboration, a look at texture and textile with Kim Martin, Glasgow-based designer, who made these fabulous prints for me to do what I like with, really, but make specifically trousers in this case, and some jackets, and which fabric I will continue to use. And so just to talk to you about the dance within this. So the dance is very specifically a progression from the Ecdysis project, so using a library collection of styles of movement that we have developed, we being myself and quite a big team of Ocean All Over performers, and thank you to all of you. And so the usual pattern for my work is to take dancers out into the landscape and then to direct a series of exercises and games and meditations, if you like, within the landscape to find moves and stories within the moves, and a connection that is something vital and real for the performers, that they are personally invested in, and that can then help the audience find a point of access within the story. And so once we've finished our first stage of creating work in the landscape, then we bring that into the studio and together go through a process of directed editing, where I amplify and modify and conjoin the moves that the dancers have created, and put together something, in this case, fairly extraordinary. And very specifically for this project, and very new for me in this last few years, was to bring in a guest choreographer. In a way, all the dancers are guest choreographers because they all contribute. But in this case, very specifically, Bill Coleman, who is quite an extraordinary character from, originally from Scotland, but living most of his life, and certainly all of his professional life, in Canada, in and around Toronto. He's a tap dancer, contemporary dancer, choreographer, with a huge amount of experience working within studio settings, but very specifically also working in unusual locations and presenting work in unusual ways. And his influence was very big within the central section of this work, helping us to create tableau vivant, sort of his whole mood as a person and as a choreographer is enormously reflective and dreamlike. So that was pretty fantastic. And then we've had the opportunity to develop the work over a few months, trying out different versions of it, different venues, and then finally showing it at Courtier Theatre in Glasgow in November 2023. Really tremendous venue, fantastic interior space, lovely atmosphere, very helpful staff there too, thank you, Courtiers. And we just had a great time there and made something really good together. Subsequently, the work has gone into a kind of resting phase somewhat, because of the complexities of trying to find funding for the arts. It's not an easy business. And so we did put on a version at the Kelburn Garden Party at a venue up within the Never-Ending Glen part of that site, called the Beach Plateau. That was a really moving show for us and for the audience. And just to qualify that, really to say that within our team, then various of us have gone through some fairly big life things within this 2-year period, and partly because of the extraordinary nature of that site, the sunlight coming through the leaves and the branches of the beech trees, and the great feeling of support coming from audience and festival and dedication of the team there, then it all added together to make something quite exceptional, despite some difficulties with on-site sound. And also that version, we used the soundtrack made for us by Richard Luke, and then a reduced version of this string arrangement, just featuring Fiona Stephen and Joey Sanderson, and then live vocals from Breezy Lee and live narration from myself. So what you are going to listen to now, hopefully, is, should you choose to continue listening, is a version of the music that was recorded partly live at the Cottier's, direct from the recording from the mixing desk by Mark McKellen, and then very skillfully engineered together from studio versions by Richard Luke, then finally mastered for us at Metropolis Studios. It sounds amazing. And so just to chat a little bit about the story, the story came about directly as a result of experiences performing Ecdysis in New York. It arrived for me as a piece of writing almost immediately on return. It is a combination of a few ideas: the willow and the man idea, the idea that willow strikes roots if it lands in the ground, and a willow tree can almost become perpetual, falling and striking and falling and striking, and that concept that a man might travel with that if a man were to be absorbed by a growing tree, then he would travel with that tree. It also follows on partly from an actual experience in a conversation with a hitchhiker that I picked up quite a few years ago along the banks of Loch Lomond. An American woman, very friendly and conversational, and we were just chatting about the landscape, and she said she was returning to do some climbing in an area which she hadn't been back to visit since she was struck by lightning there. She and her partner were climbing, and there was a big storm, and she woke up on the ground at the foot of the cliff that she was climbing, unhurt apparently, apart from a perfect circle of on the crown of her head burned into her scalp, and an equally perfect circle at her coccyx, a hole in her knickers, in fact, at the back apparently, which she didn't show me because where the lightning had jumped from the top of her head, and I think probably fortunately for her, jumped clear of her body and entered the ground, not through her feet, which I thought was fantastic. So this is a combination of those two things, and then bringing in this whole reptile concept, a willow snake to bind the man to the tree, then a glass snake representing some of the very disparate and fragmented ideas that came out of experiences in New York. Glass snake. There are glass snakes in the UK and also in the United States. Glass snakes famously break into pieces, break their tail off really, but I think there are some illustrations from around the time of Abraham Lincoln demonstrating the various parts of the United States at that time as different sections of a glass snake's body. And then moving into the Moura, which is, so Breezy Lee has some ancestry in Portugal. And so I was looking for a Portuguese reptile that could maybe tie in with that, and discovered the Moura, which is the eyed lizard. So it's called an eyed lizard because it has scales along, patterns of colour on the scales along its body, which resemble eyes, but also that lizard and several other kinds of reptiles have a space on top of their heads which is not really visible to the eye, but nevertheless receives light. So it's their third eye. And with that, according to some scientific research, they're able to navigate. And the Mora, specifically as a fairy creature, guards a realm which is under the ground, and the Mora's kingdom. To enter the Mora's kingdom, you must be invited by the gatekeeper, and once in there, you will be transformed forever. And so then this idea of the man, but also you as an audience travelling underground, becoming transformed, and then finally meeting with a character that was, and potentially could still be portrayed by Joey Arias, if we ever find enough funding to make that possible. We did perform with Joey briefly in New York, but not within this version. And so looking into the mythology again of reptiles, and Joey is a very mythological creature anyway, in real life. So he lives in Greenwich Village in New York, and Greenwich Village is built on top of a river called Minetta Creek. And that river was special to the Algonquin people who lived on Manhattan Island before it was called Manhattan Island. They even had a town there. And within their mythology, this great serpent arose at some point and caused a flood which devastated everything. And the great serpent, Maksak, and please forgive my pronunciation, was banished eventually back to the riverbed of Minetta Creek by the Thunderbirds. There's a lot more to that story, so it's worth reading more about that if you're interested. And at the end of that story, the banishing of the snake to the bed of the river, the returning of the waters, there's this idea of kind of redemption, which mirrors many other mythological stories around Genesis or some process of rebirth. And I thought the tree, perhaps the willow tree, rooting and growing at the north and south poles and dropping again, striking again, two children, and the beginning of another journey for them to meet, a cyclical process, and a story of hope within some quite catastrophic processes. So there we go, and I hope you enjoy listening to it. It is quite dense. You may want to have a break during it, or you may find just listening to the music on one listen through and then perhaps trying to listen to the story another listening. The songs and the story are part of the same narrative, but present the ideas in slightly different ways. So yes, and please do check out the album on Bandcamp, Ocean All Over Bandcamp, The Scales of the World, just to read the credits if you can't find them on this podcast, so that you know who the dancers were and who all the contributors were. And thank you for listening. cracking. To the north, it was dark, the sky, hanging around mountains, a mantle of water. White curtains of lace pulled closed by cyclonic air over brilliant illuminated fragments. Copse, river, limb, field. Rooks in chaos choreographize the swirls of westerlies that rush forwards, pressing upon all bows, and all bow to the squalling blast. Knocked, flat, crack, fingered roots bent backwards salute the sky or flail to cover wrinkled bowls. Exposed and flashed the secret earthen crotch in multiple junctures, groping this wall of saturated air. Shuddering phloem, bark off. Unclothed and shameless thrash each whip of seasoned growth, the sappy hair crowned yellow-green, face-planted mouth full of mud. Smashed teeth of timber sink craven desires into grassy skin, peeling and weeping under watered eyes. Bud bulges sluiced. Knotted, the old man Willow, so horny he sexes the worms and rises, engorged from their bed. To the north, the hills are already under night's hands, soft and cold. Willow Snake. Light oozing between sky and land, slipping quietly into my eyes as I walk the banks of the river, feeling the air fill my ears and nose, the shy fluttering of leaves as willows bow their serpentine greeting, shaking in fear of my knife. Here are the bones and corded frame, the interwoven histories, cutting and regrowth. I came here at this time, the year before, the year before, the year, and cut the wands. You are children to the blade and bow, an unequal and uneasy alliance. I will make with you a vessel, a vehicle to carry any who wish to travel. You will become a basket, depending beneath the pregnancy of a balloon. Your sinuous dance in this early breeze will become corrugated and solidified. You shed your tails for me in an understanding that I will leave your heart uncut. Reaching across to the nearest limb, I hold the length with one hand and prepare to slice down with the other. Blade in motion, then stop. All actions frozen. Up and onto my arm, a green snake has twisted itself, linking branch and flesh, locking us together, blood and sap, leaves, scales, and hair.
The stick falls straight, weighted heel from hand to earth, returning, falls suspended. His work fell short, caught wanting for love, lay there recumbent, unbent and green. Struck first by force and then by lightning, seared his crown clean. A bifurcating crack, painting and dancing, calypso, collapso, alone in the meadow, cutting stays, alone in the meadow of coppice and pollard, purple black nimbus, consuming the sky. Reaping the ribs for a basket weave, plumwood handle, curved like ears, a basket to carry his crippled heart, gift of desire and vegetal feeds. Small brown leaf spin, wound tornado, round in momentary flight, and scutter away. Accumulations lit from charged thick air, and his hair stands tall, excited and changed. Arms around a bundle of womanly wands, weighing his faults, coloring in heat. The sky is riven, burst asunder, strikes the heavens upon his head. Soundlessly fused, blown, collapse and slide, a boneless fillet, kippered and knackered, red, brown circle, burned entry and exit, head to coccyx, then jumps to earth. Each limb holds another. Fallow lies the field at rest on the rain, and silent to this man, hands and face open. Spring rises jubilant, cross blades cut through the wrap of his clothes, and he is naked. The castanet of sticks strikes out roots and reaches up. Vivid viridian arms, twice the height of a man, with one season's growth flowing up across years around human remains. Standing now, both man and wood, with chlorophyllus hair, together in the meadow.
Glass snake. Fragments of a sleeping world. I saw you blink slowly. First one eye and then the other, washing away a glass scale that was forming there. I opened my mouth to speak to you and found upon my tongue's tip another. Held out my hand towards you and felt the reflected nuance of this gesture caught within the curved facets of a glass shard. There is something hidden here, but how to see it? This moment slides circumferentially, the closure of a lid cupped with saline care around planetary sight. I scry with my little eye something that no one can see. In failing evening's light, I ran away from and towards in simultaneity. The air was cool and shadows coalesced between young trees, their arms, like my own, reaching upwards towards the gradient sky, melting from aquamarine into darkest pitch. Overhead an air balloon was passing, like a thought or an offer. From it depended a basket woven with green willow, and below that a rope. As the aeronautilus sailed overhead, this pendulation passed between and amongst the branched figures, catching and releasing, an invitation or a reluctance. I ran, away from and towards, with an increasing sense of urgency unreached, my hand on an arm so long, with fingers so remote, and closed them in faith upon the cord. I was raised at once into the air, my feet limp, toes tips trailing between the finger branches and leaves. Above me the willow basket, above that gas and ropes and cloth of the balloon. For some moments it seemed that my fate was not my own, and that I was a passenger, the journey unknowable and inscrutable. The night thickened around me. In my hand the rope twisted and cooled, coiled and sheared, a glass snake's tail, then shattered, a million scales disembodied and falling upon the world. I fell into the forest night, turned within the hips of the sky and dropped like water into a glass vase, head towards the earth, limbs curled around. There was a silence, a stasis in which the balloon trailed away above the forest and darkness. Then the glass cracked, a triplet of seams fracturing the vessel from rim to pedestal. You blinked again, and here we are, glass in my mouth, and something awakening at the corner of your eye. Possibilities without promises, a sudden softness, pupils deepening, lids relaxing, skin becoming translucent and fragmented, head sleek. With a drunken lucidity, I hold out my hand, finger extended, not pointing but indicating or receiving, like some stuccoed archetype on a Roman ceiling. And there, across the worlds, lay a scale of glass. I begin to talk, speech broken and dangerous. Your image fractures. All meaning is lost.
Speak, spake, spake is spoke. Speak, spake, spake is spoke. Speak, spake, spake is spoke. Speak, spake, spake, is spoke. Speak, spake, spake, is spoke. Speak, spake, spake, is spoke. Snap off your tail in 7 pieces. Smooth maneuver, shatter, scatter, scales. Pure is your eye, and without loathing.
I see you in the moment before crossing, extirpated, fallen, deciduous. Leaves beautiful and rusted mark you on both arms, veins browning against golden yellow. And lie there through a season of exchanges, stone curls in your hair, built each in turn and pulled into place. A braided distaff. Here you hold the ground with your body of eyes, an oscillated vision whose focus burns and leaches out. Matted matters etched clean that would press you flat and hold you beyond all reasonable doubt. In the moment of seeing you, you are no more than my own eye.
This is the part
path if you are looking for it. This way will take you into my house of stones, ledges lined with vessels, voyagers beneath the earth. And look at you, fallen as you are, so small, like a fairy, like a curled leaf, golden in this autumnal sun. You arrive where we shall all arrive, at the glimmer, the glamour, one leg extended, heel first with decisive stride, chin up, eyes upon the horizon, arms in full swing. Then stop, vitrified, while the truth falls from the sky upon your shoulders, and you are measured, weighted, counted. And here you, with your refractive index, your edges, your hints and glints and glimmers, here you in split infinities and prismatic splendor, here the flushed royalty of colours, jewelled and faceted, and at the corner of each closed eye a cut stone whose angles are void and whose shape slides, the most precious of births. Compassion solidified and smashed, you are a splinter upon my tongue, deflecting my words, cutting the sense. Across your surface, my breath accelerates, throwing out syllables that can strip skin and lacerate love. This is the direction we will take together. Forwards, a foregone conclusion. Into, between, and beneath stones. You are my most treasured, my child. Let the scales grow over your eyes to form a vision of brilliance, a kaleidoscope of futures. Light is flying out across the hillside, passing through and around leaves, amongst dancing insects rising and falling in columns of air. Then onwards over dark brown waters where they slither and coil upon the ground, and thence, thus then to you, upon your granite lintel, illuminating the smashed vessel within which you travel, colouring your translucent body with a precious glow. Hold my hand, little one, You can take the final step now. Lead with your toes and not your heel. Let your arms dance. Light fills your eyes and your head, pours into your body. You must become the vase, the hand to hold the world, the hips through which all life will pass. The sun striking your surface will cast 1,000,000 shimmering spells upon the sky, and we shall move onto the earth together. Muras encantadas.
By my mother's name, Manetta Creek. Call me when the waters rise. Whirlwind spirits shriek. Green witch, open your own face, fresh and devastated.
mother's name, Moneta Creek. Call me when the waters rise and whirlwind spirits shriek. Green witch, open your horned face. Thrash and devastate our thunderous nation drowned in dubious virtues, raging fates. Winged and crowned, most sinuous, crested, jeweled, disordered, I will slide from beneath you to cover your stone face over. Max, ax, ack. Cracks the sidewalk, fluid seeping from your walls, sacred greed and deliverance, recreation born from sucking all. Waters surround us, aqueous humors, seeing and envisioning. Be calmed, our hearts must become. There is nothing dry about loving. The thing about liquid is that it moves, is in a state of constant change, so hard to hold in your hands, impossible to retain or restrain. Even glass is fluid, sliding down its own panes. The ribbons of my wings and crest flutter and dance within the force of dark waters, within the muscle of Moneta Creek. I am osmotic, seeping and seething. Skin is no boundary, I am intermembranous. My flood is our flood, your blood mine, and our levels are rising. Dip your flask at the spring, sink its glass sides beneath surface tensions, swallow the permeations. No drought here, no parched throat. Words are liquidity, meanings in motion. From your mouth flows a force, a cascade of dialectical diatribes, a golden lexicon. The meeting of many waters, whose effluents become a single pool, whose secretions ooze past and expelled from the body land, from the containment of continents. The thing about floods is that they are expansive and incontrovertible. Your glass is cracked, my friend. You will run dry. Together we will breach the dam, break the waters of understanding, pass through all barriers. Arise with me, for together we must unbalance the scales of the world. Ourselves are full. Supersaturated sanctuaries, yours and mine. The humor is shifting from vitreous to aqueous, and you will see all oceans become one and cover the encrustations of humanity. Cover me up and water me down. I gush, mouth full and open, gurgitation and ebullience. Baptize the land, soak its hand, wash away all thought. Scour the bed of remembrance, scourging it with rolling boulders, a mud slide, mountains in fluxation and rained to the point of sanity. If all the seas were one sea, what a great sea that would be. If all the trees were one tree, standing alone upon a drowned world, a tree of sinuous limbs and pythonic virtues, a queen and mother reflecting upon the future. What a great tree that would be. A head of green leaves and rooted fast between geologies. Roots that pass through the furnace, bifurcating and piercing the globe. Two bowls, north and south. An axial conditioning. Two arms, north and south. And in the curved hand of each, a bud, a child, a world apart. opposition in order. These children must swell and ripen, fall from their respective mothers, and swim through the maelstrom, motes upon the eye of the earth. Only then will we recede. Only then will I return to the river beneath.